Happy Tuesday, team. This is your host, Mel K. Dub of the How to Live Shitty podcast. Welcome. Full disclosure, while we're being honest and transparent in this shitty process of just moving forward in the life that we desire, I'm recording this podcast from my car. And the reason for that is we originally slated to have our first guest this week. Well, Mel's having some technical difficulties. And sometimes when you're having a technical difficulty, you pivot and you make the most out of it. And that's what we're doing. So I thought it would be a good idea to go through a little bit more about First Drafts. The overall mission of First Drafts is to empower people with the tools, opportunity, and confidence to take intentional action in their lives and grow towards the life they desire most. That's what all of this ends up being about. And one major way that we're going to be fulfilling that mission is through our clubs. So if you are new, this is the first time you're kind of tuning in, First Drafts St. Louis is eventually going to be a delightful little tap house here in St. Louis, Missouri. But it's really a lot bigger than that. We have these two clubs that we're developing. One is called the Adventure Club and the other one is called the Business Club. And both of those are our pathways to fulfilling that mission. So on Thursday, the episode, we're gonna, not to get too buzzwordy on you, is we're gonna deep dive into those two things. I hate myself right now. Just to explain a little bit more about how they work, we've done some adventures already. We had a rock climbing event, an indoor rock climbing event at Climb So Ill, and that was really fun. And then we headed to Four Hands to get a beer after that. We have been doing these meetups, which are kind of like little mini ventures, just walking and meeting up with some people to get movement in. And so there's a lot of different avenues that we can take to kind of fulfill this mission. I know from my own experience, sometimes you want to meet new people or you want to do things maybe that you haven't done before, or you've done it once but you haven't found a community of people who consistently do it. I know for me with running, that's been super helpful, is just being around people who enjoy the same things that you do. And sometimes you don't know if you enjoy something yet. And what we're hoping to provide are more opportunities for people to get out and try these things. So we're actually working through three kind of pillars, so to speak, what those adventures really entail. I think it'll be helpful and really showcase what First Drafts, the company and the organization, are doing. It'll showcase what that really means a bit better. I know some people are still like, what is this thing? Like, why is there a podcast? What is First Drafts mean? What is First Drafts the Tap House? And so I would love if you can just stick with me. And once you can kind of see it in real life and see it coming to fruition that way, I know that it's going to make a lot more sense to most people. So we have the Adventures Club, which I'm very excited about. That is quickly developing into an entirely larger thing, which is really exciting. The Business Club is something that has started in beta. It has a long way to go. There is definitely so much content that needs to get made across the board for First Drafts that right now we really did start the shitty first draft on all levels for everything, meaning we got it started, but it's not running appropriately yet. It's not running the ideal way that we want it to run, but I do think just getting started, which is the whole premise of First Drafts, is just getting it moving so that you can keep making it better as you go. So with the Business Club, the goal is to be able to connect more business owners with each other so that they can learn from each other, but also learn from experts. If you're struggling with marketing, like, that would be a good way to connect with some marketing folks and learn from them. There might even be collaborations with people as far as what kinds of content we'll be providing on the platform. And then from a mental health perspective, the Business Club really is intended to help reduce isolation. Business is tough. It's a tough game. It can be very, very isolating. It can be very lonely. And it's leadership in general, I think, is a very lonely game. And if I am able to bring people together in any form or fashion to where that's reduced, or that we can at least kind of talk about it and create some kind of dialogue around why it's so difficult and these kinds of really high stake decisions that we're trying to make all the time. It's something that I'm very passionate about because I know that the way things actually change in our world is through leadership. And if our leaders are isolated and not doing well mentally, then everyone suffers. And so business, I think, has such a opportunity to do so much good in the world. Again, we need to make sure that we have leaders in positions where they're thriving, and leaders who know boundaries, leaders who understand that they're not the only ones feeling the way that they're feeling, and really create a support system for them so that they're able to operate at like a high level, but also not at a detriment to their mental health or their personal life and their personal relationships. So all that to say, the Thursday episode is going to break this down a lot better. And then next week we will for sure have our first guest. We're just rocking and rolling, y'all. You guys are on this journey with me at this point. So we will have our first guest, and I'll save that for next Tuesday. But she's definitely a person that I've learned so much from in a short period of time. And I know that you guys are really appreciate hearing her story. Just the things she's learned and the wisdom that she can bestow onto the earth that I'm really, really pumped about. So today's episode, we're pivoting with my technical issues. I need like a new life, y'all. I need like a new computer. I need some new equipment, but you don't need the perfect setup in order to keep things moving in the right direction. So I'm hopeful that is a highlight of this whimsical episode in my car. Because you know what? This is how people get shit done. I'm not even kidding. I just saw somebody who I know does podcasts, and she was recording in her closet. I think a lot of people actually record in their closets because the acoustic, like, it's very soundproof and insulated. So there's not a lot of echo or reverb or other words that I don't know. And then on the back end of that, the guest list is growing. So I'm really, really, sometimes I'm like, how am I even doing this? Or what am I doing? But it's growing. People are excited about it. I'm really curious to see people's responses to some of the folks, just because it's a wide range of like what we'll be talking about. But I know that it's value add to a lot of people. And again, not every episode is going to be for you. So I'm hopeful that the previews can show enough that you're getting what you desire out of listening to the podcast. So really appreciate everybody's comments and remarks and sweet things that they've been saying so far. I really appreciate it. I know that this is rocky, so it's not like I'm expecting that this is a well-oiled machine by any means right out the gate, but I really do appreciate your guys' support. I appreciate all the love, and I just hope that you'll continue tuning in and getting something out of it. So appreciate you guys. Until Thursday, this is How to Live Shitty with your host, Melissa K. Weber. You have a great week.